Good evening, everybody. We will call this meeting to order. Roll call, please, Elsa. Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
And if you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we need to approve the agenda for the evening. Motion?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We have the approval of the minutes from the October 14th board meeting. Any discussion, or excuse me, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And now we have the superintendent's report, please. Dr. Sprout.
Thank you, President Berrigan and governing board members. On October 27th, we lost one of our great leaders in this district, MC Cash Principal Lisa Sandomir. Ms. Sandomir began her career as a junior high language arts teacher in the Cartwright School District at Borman Middle School. She taught for 10 years before becoming an assistant principal for 2 years at Borman. She was hired by Levine in 2006 as an assistant principal at then Vista del Sur Middle School. But quickly, in September of that same year, right after she was hired, she was promoted to principal at MC Cash. This began her 16-year tenure as a principal of MC Cash. And in that time, she earned the Rodell Exemplary Principal Award, and Cash was named an A-plus School of Excellence. These are both awards that reflect the highest level of leadership and a staff working together for the betterment of their community. Staff that Ms. Sandomir mostly hired and mentored. Super smart, wise, clear thinking under pressure, and care for her colleagues. All of these describe Ms. Sandomir, which made her a go-to person for all of us. Her laughter and wry sense of humor, sometimes salty sense of humor, were always encouraging. Her perfect balance of being gracious while making sure you lived up to her expectations will stick with all of us. We extend our condolences to Ms. Sandomir's family and want you to know the tremendous impact that she had in the lives of thousands. We also extend our condolences to her staff, fellow administrators, students, family, and community members in Cash. In the last week, we have seen an outpouring of love and appreciation to the Cash staff, students, and community. This honors Lisa and is a reflection of her impact. Her staff was awesome, serving while they were grieving, again, honoring what she would have them to do. Over 1,000 people came to our community gathering last Wednesday evening to remember her and to grieve and celebrate her as a community. In recognition of Lisa's service, I have asked her colleagues to pay tribute to her. We have, in this order, will be coming up, Assistant Principal Nikki Goodwin, Health Associate Christina Vasquez, Community Engagement Coordinator Dr. Joe Roselle, Retired Principal Steve Price, and Principal Sarah Zimbrewski. Ms. Goodwin.
Good evening, President Berrigan, members of the board, Dr. Sprout, colleagues, and guests. Tonight, I have been given the enormous responsibility and great honor of talking to you about my friend and mentor, Lisa Sandomir. As you have heard throughout the past 2 weeks, and will hear again tonight from those closer to her, Lisa was a dedicated educator, teacher, and friend. Her passion for her children and adopted Cash community was evident in all that she did. I have listened to many stories from her former students, parents, and the community about the lives she touched without expectation of recognition. There are probably dozens of others examples that we will never know about. The impact of the loss of Ms. Sandomir on our students has been evident. Current and former students continue to share stories about the ways that Ms. Sandomir made them feel important and special. She had the enviable ability to make everyone feel as though they were important and mattered within just a few seconds. Our students from kindergarten to 8th grade felt the same genuine connection with her. That connection remained long after students were promoted from Cash. Lisa had a Yiddish saying for every situation. Sometimes they were a little too convenient, and we wondered if they were really true. She would always say they were loosely translated. She never failed to quote a 70s and 80s movie during her new teacher induction. None of our new teachers understood the references. She would try the exact same scene out of context. She would find the exact same scene out of context on YouTube, only to be disappointed by an even younger group of teachers the following year. She was notoriously bad at unit math. We once had a nacho bar for our staff. She bought so much nacho cheese that we were able to feed the entire staff and 300 6th through 8th graders for 2 days. If you look closely in the Booster Club closet, you can still find a can of leftover nacho cheese. She was young at heart and could be found at every turkey trot asking the kids to teach her how to do the latest dances. They would laugh at her attempts, and she would laugh at herself. One time, a flock of geese flew onto our field and were chasing our kids during morning recess. Admin was called. Lisa tromped through the newly irrigated field in her 3-inch heels to talk to them about their disappointing behavior. The geese were not impressed, and this ended with them chasing her into the kindergarten building. These geese returned several times that year, but always flew away when they saw her coming. Lisa told every prospective employee of Cash that she had 3 expectations. They had to have a passion for working with our kids. She never sugarcoated the challenges that many of our students come to school with. 2, they could not lower their expectations for our students. They had to believe that our students were as capable and smart as every other student anywhere else. And 3, they had to play nice in the sandbox with their colleagues. In every interview, Lisa talked about how Cash is a special place. We are a family. We fight like a family. We make up like a family. And we most importantly, love and support each other like a family. I have been on campus every day since the tragedy, and the sentiment that I have heard over and over from the Cash family is she was tough, but Miss Sandomir made me a better teacher. When we as educators think about our calling and our purpose, it is to serve students. The most impactful way to serve students is to teach fellow educators how to be better for their students. Miss Sandomir did that, and in that way, the ripple effect that she has had on teachers, students, and the Cash community can only be imagined by those in this room. All of us here tonight should strive to reach this same bar. We should live by her example and ensure that the world is a better place because we were in it. I have been told that the traditional phrase of condolences in the Jewish faith loosely translates to, "May her memory be a blessing." We can all agree that the memory of Miss Lisa Sandomir is nothing but a blessing to all of us who are lucky enough to have known her. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you.
Ms. Christina Vasquez, Health Associate at MC Cash.
Good evening, President Barragan, members of the board, Dr. Sprout, and guests. My name is Christina Vasquez. I am a health associate at MC Cash. I have worked with Lisa Sandomir for more than 10 years. Lisa believed in people even when they didn't believe in themselves. I was not sure I could do the job of the health associate, but Lisa believed in me and encouraged and changed my life. Lisa really loved her students and staff. She worked with community organizations to make sure that every student at Cash received a Christmas present every year. She knew every student by name and knew most of their parents' names too. She remembered students long after they had been gone, left Cash. Even when they came back to visit as adults, she remembered their names. She was the head of our Cash family, and there will never be anyone quite like her. Thank you.
Next, our Community Engagement Coordinator, Dr. Joe Roselle.
Governing Board President Berrigan, Governing Board members, Dr. Sprout, guests, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to give you some, or deliver some comments about my friend Lisa. When Dr. Sprout asked me to speak tonight, he said, "Joe, I think you have known Lisa the longest, and I know you were friends. Would you like to speak?" I, of course, said yes. I also thought to myself, it doesn't matter if you knew Lisa for 20 years or 20 days. The reaction was always the same. You could not help but love and admire her. This became obvious to me when I received phone calls from my old vice principals, community partners, and old colleagues. Lisa's impact was truly far-reaching. Personally, I've known Lisa for about 20 years. In that time, Lisa was many things to me. She was a peer, a colleague, a teacher, and most importantly, she was a friend. As a friend and a teacher, Lisa has taught me a lot of life lessons that I've coined my Lisa lessons. Let me share a couple of my favorite ones with you. I first met Lisa when I was her assistant principal at Borman Middle School when she was a teacher. I will never forget our first meeting. I was in a temporary office in the library, and she came in to introduce herself and make it well known that she was there to support me in my new role, but she was also there to hold me accountable. That was my first Lisa lesson, Leadership 101. Leadership was a responsibility that was required you to be accountable to everyone that you led. It was a hard lesson for me at times that first year, but Lisa was always there with her advice and her wonderful smile and laugh. You can fill in the blanks. You know, Joe, you really ... You know, Joe, I would have done ... Joe, what were you thinking ... And simply just Joe, really ... After a couple of those ... conversations, I realized my Lisa lesson number 2. People that really care about you will tell you the truth and help you improve. Lisa did that. As a matter of fact, she told me that I was her favorite ongoing project. A couple of years later, Lisa and I transferred to Levine. We were both excited about the move. Lisa was quickly promoted to principal, and we became peers. As peers, I learned Lisa lesson number 3, take care of each other. Not a lot of people know this, but I would sing Lisa Adam Sandler's Hanukkah song on the first day of Hanukkah. Not because I have a good voice, but because it would make her laugh. That was my way of taking care or caring for Lisa. I would make her laugh. Of course, Lisa took care of me by teaching me Lisa lesson number 4. Be in the moment. Take time for each other. And when somebody needs you, be there for them. This Lisa lesson is probably my favorite and the one that changed me the most. When I talk to my peers, this is a Lisa lesson that most of us discuss. We can all picture walking into Lisa's office. She would smile, say your name, close her laptop, sit by you, and give you her time, attention, and wisdom. With all the interactions I've had in a day, I can tell you this is rare, and it's something I think we all sought out. Finally, Lisa lesson number 5. Don't be afraid to feel your emotions. Get angry. Talk to a friend. Let yourself heal. This is the Lisa lesson I've needed the most when I heard of her passing, and it hurt because, ironically, she's the one who I would have talked to about a friend passing. I'm going to take Lisa's advice and not be afraid to feel. I will shed tears and smile. I will take comfort that my tears will eventually fade. I will also feel comforted knowing that my Lisa lessons will stay with me forever. In fact, I know one day I will be sitting in front of someone that needs my help and say, let me tell you about my friend Lisa and her Lisa lessons. In closing, all I have to say is, Lisa, thanks for the lessons.
It's great to see you back, Steve, and our retired principal, Steve Price.
Okay. I'd first like to thank Dr. Sprout and the governing board for giving me this moment to talk about our good friend and better teammate, Lisa Sandomir. I would also like to acknowledge another colleague, Dale Parcell, who is unable to attend tonight because he had a bit of a bike accident last week. He sends his best, and he wished he could be here for Lisa. I first met Lisa while Dr. Dixon and I were interviewing for principals for the under construction Trailside and the crumbling Levine. I was impressed with Lisa, but she was beat out by 2 experienced principals. Fortunately for me, she accepted the opportunity to be my assistant principal at Vista. During our first sit-down, she convinced me that I had indeed hired someone who was much smarter than me, which became my number 1 goal in hiring: hire people who are smarter than you. Lisa just had this excellent recall, and more importantly, knew how to implement in what she had read and learned over the years. She also told me, her supervisor, that we would meet every morning to discuss life and, if time permitted, the issues that we might face that day. Several weeks into that first school year, while working dismissal, I received a phone call from Dr. Dixon saying we would be meeting at my office. This led to the first time that I might have teared up at work. Lisa was going to be the principal at MC Cash starting the following Monday. Great for Lisa, not so much for me. During our next morning meeting, she shared her concerns about taking the position. Number 1 being that she had only worked at the middle school level. I had a wealth of experience, 2 years, working with younger kids. I reassured her with this simple advice: just say crisscross applesauce. She may have hit me, but she did laugh quite a bit. Our early morning meetings continued throughout that year and the following years, but now they occurred over the phone. We commiserated about our APs, how all principals should have to work with middle school students before being promoted, and district initiative, which she already seemed to be well versed on. She could explain them in its simplest terms and then lead me to the books and articles to read. I followed and then borrowed from her. The other thing that always amazed me during our conversations was that she was always one step ahead of everyone else as she looked for and found resources for her kids and the Cash community that she loved. My last text to her was on October 8th about a program to provide coats to her kids at school. She was my friend and a trusted peer. She called me Poppy, and I will miss her. Thank you.
Principal Sarah Zimbrewski.
Wow. Hard acts to follow. President Berrigan, members of the board, Dr. Sprout, and awesome family members, guests, thank you for giving me this opportunity to remember my friend and colleague. As you've heard, how do you begin to explain the legacy and the impact someone like Lisa has had on your life for a hard 15 years, but I've known her for over 20. We used to just share lunches together when we were both in Cartwright. And then we both ended up in Levine, full circle, which is just how life sometimes happens. And like Lisa, my first job in Levine was Steve Price's assistant principal. So of course I called Lisa many a time, like, Lisa, what does it mean when Steve's like, yes? She's like, oh, that's Poppy. Yeah, that's what he does. So she was my go-to person for literally the last 15 years. Somebody that we could pick up the phone and say 1 or 2 words to each other, and sometimes repeat those 1 or 2 words, depending on the circumstance. And the other person just knew. It was like, I know what she needs right now. This is what she needs to hear. And that's hard, and she'll never be replaced. She's my go-to, has been for 15 years. I've had the privilege the last 2 days to be an A-plus judge at a school in East Mesa. And we were supposed to judge that school together. Lisa and I always went together because we shared a lot of the same expectations. And it was hard to be there the last 2 days without her. But the judge that came and replaced her, it was so amazing. Yesterday, he goes, I just want to express my condolences. When I heard of Lisa's passing, it was just devastating. He was one of the A-plus judges at her school in 2018 when she renewed her A-plus. And he said she had such an impact on that entire community. And he said she touched me. And he has judged schools all over the state of Arizona for many, many years. And he said, I'll never forget, just within minutes of stepping on her campus, you could feel the love she had for her kids and just the care and compassion she had for that entire community. And he said, and that's hard to find. So that just gives you a taste of the impact she's had for so many years and on so many thousands of people. And so you think about it, and it's like, okay, we've just had this storm that has just ripped through our district, and especially through the Cache community here the last couple weeks. Then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Without a storm, there is no harvest. And Lisa has sown many seeds. And Nikki and Melissa, there are not two better people she would want to continue the work and reaping the harvest of the seeds she's sown than you two. And there's going to be challenges. There's going to be times you think, oh my goodness, I want to call Lisa. I want to turn to Lisa. Or better yet, I wish Lisa was here to do this. Right? I think they've already had a few challenges actually in the last week. But what you have to remember, what all of us have to remember, is Lisa's legacy will live on. And if you recall, every Sunday, she gave us all permission to edit. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to each of the speakers tonight to have the courage to share those stories and those memories of Lisa with us. We really appreciate that. I would like to ask now if any of the board members have any comments. I know that Torrance did want to say something. I don't know if Ryan. Okay. We'll go down the line then. We'll start with Ryan.
I had a chance only to meet Miss Sandomir once. I went to her school, and the moment I walked in, everything that you guys have said was magnified. The thing that stuck out to me was that she was this agent of hope. Hope for the kids, hope for her. She talked about specific families, not just kids, but their family. And I was actually thinking, as she passed, actually my dissertation was all about hope. And as I was thinking about hope, and I wish I would have had I wish I could have done a case study for her, because she was a paragon of that. And as I think about hope, and Ms. Sembruski, as you talked about sowing seed in the harvest, that's what hope does. It's pushes in the midst of storms, it just ripples through communities. And her legacy, like when I think about a legacy, like I hope like I could have a fraction of the hope that she has given to this community that I could do. So what a beautiful story, and the legacy that's going to be lived on to this community is Laveen is better because of her. So yeah, rest in peace.
Thank you, Dr. Centers. Dr. Watkins?
I'll be very, very brief. My meeting was that same day when Ryan saw her. We did a school visit last spring, and you guys spoke, people that have known her 15, 20 years, and I got to spend 45 minutes with her, one-on-one, basically, and I just felt in awe of the love that she had for community. Every student that we walked by, she would say something to him. She'd say, "How's your grandmother doing?" She would go into stories that, oh yeah, they taught in the they worked in the cafeteria, they were a teacher, just amazing, if you guys know anything about me, community means so much to me. So to lose someone that had that same value, very difficult. I've had actually a tough time with their passing, and knowing her just so little. I can't imagine having someone like her that you could speak to every day. So I just feel tremendous loss for our community, but I know her legacy is going to continue on. Ceremonies we did last Wednesday were amazing. Just happy we have principles like that in our community. I mean, honestly, a lot of our leaders are very similar to Lisa. I don't think they're Lisa, but there's a lot of similarities. So if you guys can channel your inner Lisa, it would be a great.
Thank you, Dr. Watkins. Ms. Ward?
I just also just wanted to say that I know the principal sets the tone for the school, and she set the tone for the entire community. And that is just, it's a testament to the passion for what she did. I also just wanted to say the nacho cheese was not a mistake. It was not a math error. It's a Jewish mother thing. My gosh, if there was not enough food there, that is the worst that could happen. I just want to may her memory be a blessing.
Thank you, Ms. Ward. Ms. Anderson?
Well, and I just want to say that the 6 years I really have kind of known Lisa is that it was very evident when you stepped on her campus that she believed and her staff believed that all kids and staff members are capable, are talented and capable of success. And so you just need to carry on and continue that legacy.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment to share a story that her brother shared with us. Just Dr. Sprout and I were there. I don't know if any of the rest of you were able to hear this story from him. It's from when she was 4 years old. They had a grandfather to come live with them in their home, and he was sick and aging, and they were caring for him there. And Lisa, in her, I believe the word you used was saltiness. Okay, it was there when she was 4. And her grandfather would watch the TV, and that was back in the day where kids, you had to go up to the TV and apparently like turn a dial on or off. You didn't have a remote to change the channel from. And so what Lisa would do is she would, as her grandfather was watching the TV, she would go and she would turn the TV off, even though he was trying to watch it. And it would frustrate the heck out of her grandfather. And someone would have to come and turn it back on. And one day she did that. And her brother witnessed her grandfather then swiftly aiming and throwing a slipper at Lisa's head and connecting so that she understood to stop doing that. It's a funny story. It's probably not one that a lot of people know about Lisa from when she was a young child. And the reason I wanted to share that tonight, because I think it shows a saltiness, or as my mother might have called it, sassiness, but let's just say a certain oomph in children that we don't want to tamp down, especially in our young girls. Keep that oomph, encourage that oomph. I think Lisa would want that. And that's what I'd like to share tonight. Thank you. Dr. Sprout.
Thank you, everyone. One of our aspirations in this district is to celebrate our staff and students, and we will now be moving into a time where we recognize our employees of the month, and we also get a peek into 5th grade math instruction at Levine Elementary School in this month's Classroom Spotlight. So let's begin with employees of the month. This employee comes to work every day with a positive attitude and a solution-driven mindset. Beyond his typical role in supporting technology needs, he has managed to build relationships with nearly all of the students he serves. He is happy to participate in classroom conversations and activities and is a familiar face around campus. He is also proactive, ensuring his teachers have the tools they need to be successful and confident in their technology. He is always willing and able to assist. And who I am talking about is Carlos Valenzuela from Estrella Foothills Global Academy, although just promoted to a new position, but he was a computer tech there. And Carlos, would you please come up and let's give him a round.
Carlos. I've known this amazing young man here for several years. I think he started maybe as a special education associate back in the day. He's done anything and everything, behavior monitor, and then he left the district and he couldn't stay away from it too long, so had to come back. But I always found a place for Carlos because I don't think there's anything he can't do and doesn't do just exceptionally well. Amazing IT guy, still is amazing even though he's technically a district now. We feel him a lot because we haven't replaced him yet. You know, you're just everything, Carlos, and this is so deserving, and you're missed, but we know where to find you.
Next, we have our Certified Employee of the Month. This teacher puts the needs of students above all else. She understands that her role does not have limits when it comes to growing her students and the community around them. She continuously pushes outside of her comfort zone to enrich those around her by sharing her love of community action projects and professional development. She genuinely strives to make all families feel as if they have a stake in their child's education. She makes all the efforts to ensure that whomever she has in contact feels supported and valued. I'm pleased to introduce our Certified Employee of the Month, EFGA third grade teacher, Shelby Bradshaw. For my son. You want to do a selfie?
Yeah, I want to do a selfie. An amazing teacher, you know, when you end up with a position mid-year, a teaching position to fill, it's a little scary, not gonna lie. I was fortunate enough to steal from Austin's. You know, she had this like, you know, seems like she's really gonna be an outstanding teacher, and wow. Has not disappointed, taught first grade, and then wanted to come with me over to the Straight Foothills, and I really wanted to bring her. But I was like, Shelby, here's the deal, like, I need you, if you want to come, you gotta do third grade. She was like, whoa, time out. And I was like, you can do it. Like, amazing teachers can teach anything. I'm a firm believer of that. And Shelby, you are an amazing educator. You were as a first grade teacher, you are as a third grade teacher, and all that you do for your students and all of us at the Straight Foothills does not go unnoticed. And I'm so happy that you got this because you're so good.
Okay, so we have one more Classified Employee of the Month. We missed Mr. Valenzuela last month, so this is our current Employee of the Month. This employee goes above and beyond to support all sites throughout the district. He is willing to help wherever he is needed. Whenever there is a call for support, he is the first to answer and respond. He communicates well with all staff, parents, and students. He even comes out to support students at sporting events throughout the school year. He can be counted on to have a great attitude, and this for sure. I've seen that. No matter what challenges he faces, he is happy to complete his duties with a smile. He is the epitome of a team player that is always willing to support his colleagues. During the pandemic, he oversaw the Chromebook distribution, maintenance, and replacement when needed. He is also a role model to the students with his positive presence and motivating words. Congratulations to Paseo Point computer technician Marcus Lara.
Now, all the words that Dr. Sprout said about Marcus are just exactly who he is. He's a bright, shining role on our campus. He helps everybody out. He's always quick to step in. Very positive role model for the kids. He does so much, and on top of that, I get to talk with Marcus after every Suns game, ASU game, Cardinals game. He's my local sports expert, so we always get to chat about those things. So I really personally enjoy my campus. But it's not just me. He has that relationship with so many people on our campus. He's definitely appreciated. We're fortunate to have him. Thank you, Marcus, for all you do.
So our technology department, one of our key positions in this district with all the reliance that we have or the use of technology, we have a computer technician at every campus. And so two of them were recognized tonight. And I can't go any further without, the guy that helps to really keep this. It's his birthday tonight, Eddie Lopez. So happy birthday, Eddie Lopez. You're the president of the board.
We'll do it.
Okay, all right. I guess you're going to get sung to
At the
later.
end, we're gonna serenade you.
This is the kind of stuff Eddie lives for. And at this point, one of our favorite parts of every governing board meeting is to have our wonderful students come and present to us what they're doing in their classroom. And thank you, parents, for bringing your children here tonight. And family members that are here, we're so thankful for you. I'm going to turn it over to Levine Elementary School Principal, Dr. Robert Kappelenberg.
Thank you. President Berrigan, members of the board, Dr. Sprout, it is my honor to stand before you tonight as principal of Levine Elementary School and present the November School Spotlight and highlight our amazing fifth grade students and a fifth grade teacher. Tonight, we have 5 quick objectives for you. First, we're going to present to you our Mindful School Initiative in a brief overview. We're going to talk about the basics of our instructional program, the instructional core. We're going to talk about fifth grade math. Mr. Casada is going to talk about how he uses manipulatives to teach math. We're going to introduce you to 7 amazing students, and then those 7 amazing students are going to demonstrate how they use manipulatives to solve math problems. First, we are a mindful school, and that means that mindfulness is about developing mental and emotional strength in our students. And we are pleased that we have over 70 teachers and staff trained in mindfulness foundations through mindfulschools.org. We practice classroom breathing school-wide each and every day to help students focus and excel. And we have a dedicated room called the Wajiki, which is in the Gila River language, translates to healing room, for students and staff as well, to reset and refocus throughout the day. All these initiatives assist us in helping our students and staff be the best version of themselves. The basic of our instructional program at Levine is grounded in the instructional core. And that was established by Dr. Richard Elmore, a professor at Harvard University. You may know him as one of the leading authors in school reform and wrote a book about instructional rounds. The basics of the instructional core all focus on an academic task, or in other words, what are we asking the students to do? Around that academic task, there's 3 components. All 3 components must be present in order for learning and growth to occur. The first component is the teacher. We must have an engaged teacher in the learning, in the teaching and the learning. One of the principles of the instructional core is teaching causes learning. In other words, it matters how we teach something. The second component is the students. The students must also be engaged in the learning. Another principle of the instructional core is task predicts performance. What we ask students to do, the task, will predict their performance on future tasks. So we must make sure those tasks are purposeful. The third component is the content. The content must be rigorous, differentiated, intentional, and purposeful. And tonight, we're going to be looking at the instructional core through a 5th grade math lesson. The instructional core in this situation, the academic task, is our 5th grade math standard, number, and operations in base 10. The teacher, Mr. Casada, who I'll introduce in just a moment, is engaged and does an amazing job and represents an amazing teaching staff at Levine Elementary School. We have 7 students that will be presenting to you. Again, amazing students representing an amazing student body at Levine Elementary School. And the content we'll be using is the district math curriculum, McGraw-Hill My Math. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Casada, who is going to talk to you about why we use manipulatives in math.
President Berrigan and members of the board, Dr. Sprout, it is my pleasure to stand before you this evening and represent the talented team of teachers at Levine Elementary School. Tonight, we will be modeling how students use manipulatives in math. Now, let's begin with a quote. I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. A manipulative is an object which is designed so that a learner can perceive some mathematical concept by manipulating it, hence its name. The use of manipulatives provide a way for children, students, to learn concepts through developmentally appropriate hands-on experiences. Manipulatives not only allow students to construct their own cognitive models for abstract mathematical ideas and processes, they also provide a common language to communicate these models to the teacher and other students. Manipulatives aid directly in the cognitive process. Manipulatives have the additional advantage of engaging students and increasing both interest and enjoyment of mathematics. Increasing student interaction results in increased learning. Furthermore, manipulatives allow students to use concrete objects to observe, model, and internalize abstract concepts, such as these base 10 blocks that they'll be using today. They can see these and put them into action and actually work them and see what's happening with the math. Our manipulatives help students make mathematical connections and enhances their comprehension. Our specific curriculum, McGraw-Hill My Math, does a great job of providing specific lessons geared towards these hands-on learning experiences. At this time, I would like to introduce you to the 7 amazing Levine students that will be demonstrating the use of manipulatives in math. We have Christian. His favorite subjects are math, science, and social studies. His hobbies include horseback riding, video games, soccer, and golf. His career goal is to be a professional soccer player or law enforcement. Andrew. His favorite subjects are math and social studies. His hobbies include video games and basketball. Career goal is to be a doctor. Next is Kenzo. Kenzo's favorite subjects are math and science. His hobbies include football, basketball, softball, and golf. Career goals is to be a doctor or a professional football player in the NFL. Shadia is joining us. Her favorite subjects are math, music, science, and ELA. Her hobbies are basketball and reading. Her career goals are to be a professional basketball player. Next, we have Joshua. Joshua's favorite subject is math. His hobbies include soccer, football, basketball, and golf. Career goals is to be a pilot, professional basketball player, or a billionaire. And we have next Josue. Josue's favorite subjects are math, science, and ELA. His hobbies are football, video games, and golf. His career goal is to be a professional golfer on the PGA Tour. And finally, we have Esened. Esened's favorite subjects are science and ELA. The hobbies are video games, soccer, and softball. Career goals are to be a movie director or a screenplay writer. Well, it's math time, so now our students will demonstrate how we can utilize these manipulatives in our math class today by solving a division problem for you using our base 10 math manipulatives.
This is our division. My division problem is 200. Oh, wow, that's even more. Is our difference for we're gonna use base 10 problem. Is that 200? I use for my this one is at 200. And this is 30, so one of these this will be done for. That's what 200. Each of these. Yeah. So let's start with the one. Okay, that makes sense. So there you go. Each of these that's called the one. The 200 are listed. Each of them in one group. Even unless of course there's not more of you. So each of them have 10 candidates. Well, each 100. For papers, out of the way. So the dividend, so one was each 4. Division for 24. Okay. Next we have 200. And you can't put 2 into 4. You have to substitute. 2 of these are them. I bet you would substitute them. Power. I put 20 on each. How many is it?
Good.
4, 6, 8, 9.
How many?
One more.
How many?
Now, there you go. That's 100, right? Put them straight up another 10. It will be that. Use 100. So we know that big. 4. One copy. One in 10 is 100. How I know this is basically I'm gonna make like you also if mine is up good, you see that each of these.
Let's move all this out. Do you want more room? Okay, take as much as you want, because this is fascinating.
Each of these have 10 in them. And if you line them up, this will equal 30. Yeah. 3 times 10. And we can switch them for. So I'm going to do the same thing. And now, here is 2 interviews because we set it up.
I know 4 times 7
200.
is 28, and that's really close.
So now you have.
So we can put
Also,
100.
now we have 200. And this is the best way to know how to good.
Love it.
5.
You want
So we just put it half
well,
into
to get there, it's
So
very different. Once you get there,
This is our remainder.
you don't have to.
This is just our lesson. Not put each in
Great
there.
job. It's very different. Not a lot of people want to do it. A lot of people can't.
and that's the answer.
Because by yourself,
Yeah. So
you know, getting into it. When it comes to me in my office, what I do,
I have 30,
what I do.
31
It's a great job.
and
2 times 4 is
I'm actually, I
this is
last Kids that have eye problems like dyslexia, you saw a B, you said D. You saw a E, you said D.
28, so
What is that now?
I used to be a teacher.
And all the lens are doing is making the light hit your eye. It has to focus on the back. Your far side,
Really great job.
really far away good, but not up close. But I'm gonna flash you the light come closer. Most people, here's you see that phone, but it's been so much time, it's like those lights come to light.
Oh, you have a new baby.
It's just making the light.
Doesn't matter.
Is it easy?
Yeah, no, yeah. But you had the, that one. Okay.
It just depends on what you think. For me, it's very important that we be involved in your guys' education. Make sure that teachers are accountable to make sure that you guys get that education. You guys are very limited.
The first day.
My kids continue to be in elementary.
How was your day?
Dr. Manziel.
That's your mom.
It's fun to be here. You have to do all this math.
It's a lot now.
Most of them. Anytime you want to come visit, just call me. We got things to do.
1, 2,
So 58 is the answer.
yes. 58. But
Really?
You guys should finish it late.
Oh, forgot about them.
these two left are called remainders, and they're also or
Yeah, we,
My husband got it for me.
did you guys go to the?
Saw it in Starbucks one time and I was like, you wanted to get me that.
Yeah, do you like math?
it's one of my
You want to get me that for me?
And what did you want to be?
Thank you, students. Thank you, parents. We're going to go ahead and bag up our manipulatives.
Oh, do you think you can apply math
These are at the
to
party
football?
yeah.
for the
How?
soccer.
Oh, I'll help you. Okay, wait. I'll get the little ones. You get the
Put
big
that
ones,
in
and then
there.
keep telling me because I want to hear it.
If there's a first down, don't probably use
Yeah,
math.
we're gonna take-
Great job.
You probably use math
See you,
throughout
Bob.
your first downings, so you know how much yards the hash was connected.
Have you done any of those math programs about if one person is running so fast in one direction? And then you could, I'll bet you could use math to figure that out for football, is how fast the runner has to be going and at what diagonal to, I don't play football at all. But your teacher will be happy to work with you. These are amazing. That made it easy to figure that out. Exactly.
That was awesome. Like, gotcha.
Because I see the difference that education can make in.
All right, thank you very much.
And I want to make sure that everybody.
Our students were super excited to meet you. During our dress rehearsal, you all had stand-ins. So we were very excited to meet the real you. So thank you so much. Thank you to our students. Thank you to our parents for being here. This was a special night for all of us. Thank you for the opportunity to let us present to you this evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kaplinger. What I'd like to do is call our students up here so we can get a picture. And while they're doing that, would you all please stand and join me in congratulating them and thanking them for their work?
Mr. Quezada as well, please.
I have a flat stand with me in the car.
Parents, if you'd like to come over here and get a picture, feel free to do so.
I'm gonna stop time.
Yeah, I know, I get a little.
We'll start doing it once a month. Stop. Especially, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm putting it on my list.
Put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
You guys.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Quezada. Thank you, kids. You were all spectacular. I do have a personal favorite. It's now Joshua. So thank you, Joshua, for sharing it with me. We'll go ahead and take a break, and that will give everybody the opportunity to head out if they'd like to. You're welcome to stay for the business part of our meeting, but you don't have to. So we'll take a quick break. Oh, Fern. What's Fern doing? Oh, she has a mask, so there doesn't have to be a stand-in. She happened to have that in her car, apparently. There you go. Yeah. All right. We'll take a break. Thanks, everybody. We'll go ahead and resume the meeting. Our next item on the agenda is a presentation from Student Services, but I think Dr. Sprout,
Yeah.
you're introducing that?
Yes. Thank you, President Berrigan. Tonight, we will be giving the governing board an update on the crucial work occurring in our Student Services Department. It is my pleasure to introduce our Executive Director of Student Services, Dr. Todd Leolius, who will be making this presentation about his outstanding team that he leads and the students they serve. Dr. Leolius.
President Berrigan, governing board members, Dr. Sprout, and guests, thank you for the opportunity to present today at this distinguished board meeting. A couple of big acts to follow. I am beyond excited for the opportunity to share with you what we do in student services, which is the department that I oversee, which touches upon all of our school campuses and many of our students. Student services, quite simply, is about the students. It's all about the students, and we have a lot of them. We have multiple programs and projects that we oversee within the Student Services Department, the largest of which is special education. We currently have 1,000 students who receive special education services. We also have an additional 400 students who receive counseling outside of the special education process, and many students who have Section 504 health plans. We're also intimately connected with students in foster care, voucher programs, and those are the kids who get the special services. That's not even talking about all the students who get Tier 1 support day in, day out at our school sites. It is quite simply about the students, and we have the coolest ones in the district. To be honest, the district has the coolest kids in the state. And I couldn't be more pleased to share with you a visual representation of what we do. You're going to see quite a few pictures today of our students and staff working together, and also some brief video vignettes. It is about the students, but it's also about the learning. We're all about instruction, having students maximize their learning potential to meet gains on state standards, but also on their individualized programs. The majority of students in my program receive services in the general education classroom plus the resource room. So the majority of their day, they're with a general education instructor. These pictures show students receiving additional instruction in a resource room based on their individual needs, based on their individual disability. We also have a large number of students who receive what we call self-contained programming, which is day-long programming with a highly qualified special education teacher and with special education instructional associates. Students in these programs receive more intensive programming than they would in a less restrictive setting. Student services also involves early childhood, and we're very excited about what we do in preschool, our connection to Head Start, our connection to the Kids Club preschool program, but also the developmental preschool program that we have located both at Levine and Estrella Foothills Global Academy. Early intervention works. The greatest joy that I have each spring is exiting students from special education because they've met their goals, because they've attained the goals that the team and parents have set for them. I'm going to show you a few video snippets. This one is very short, but it touches upon a lot of what we do in special education preschool.
Red. Red. Okay. You want to add it? We're going to add some glue. And
did you see all that? Articulation instruction, receptive communication instruction, fine motor planning, fine motor dexterity, all in 20 seconds. This is the kind of thing that it looks like in preschool and throughout our programs, but it looks a little more fun in preschool because that is how learning is. It is play-based. Our department has got many highly qualified experts who represent a multitude of different fields. We have certified school psychologists, certified guidance counselors, a multitude of therapists, and also registered nurses. The department is large. And I have the pleasure of sharing with our school principals the opportunity to work with absolutely amazing experts. I don't have a video, but I have a picture to show you. High collaboration in action. This is called transdisciplinary assessment. This is 3 people representing 3 different areas of child development expertise working with a student to determine if they have a need, if they have a disability, and if they benefit from being in our preschool program. So on the far right is a special, school psychologist with a specialist degree. On the far left is a licensed speech and language pathologist. In the middle is a doctor of occupational therapy. All 3 working at the same time in a playful way to do an assessment on a child and their needs. That kind of work happens day in, day out in our department. Student services also involves nursing and health services and our amazing staff in the health offices, with a focus on wellness, with a focus on health screenings, immunizations for school readiness, also care coordination with community agencies such as Maricopa County Health Department, and also emergency response services. Our nurses are also integral in overseeing our Section 504 healthcare plans. With 7,500 students, every kid's got their own story, and many of them require specialized programming and maintenance of their medical needs for diabetes, for epilepsy, for allergies and asthma. And our nurses are very important members of our team. Our school counselors are second to none. Dr. Sprout, unfortunately, he and I had the opportunity to see them in action this past week in one of the most difficult of circumstances. But our psychologists and our school counselors, they distinguish themselves in a most amazing way. Day in, day out, they tend to do much more wellness focus, social emotional learning focus, connection with Touchstone Health Services, our community agency, but they do crisis intervention on an individual basis or on a school-wide basis as needed. Foster care is something I'm passionate about. You may not know this about me, but I'm a foster adopt dad 2 times over. I'm very passionate about our foster community, and it's a growing community. We have over 150 students that we've been working with from August until present. The vast majority are in foster homes, but we do have a growing number of group homes in our community. In fact, in the last 2 weeks, I've been working with some group homeowners for kids outside of the foster care system as well. So it's been real exciting to see as our community evolves to meet the needs of our students as they move into our district, or in the occasion when they move out of our district, sometimes at the direction of the Department of Child Safety. We have a lot of therapy for our students in our schools. The kinds of things you might think would exist in a clinic or in a hospital setting happens in our schools on a day in, day out basis. We have multiple excellent and highly qualified and licensed therapists who provide therapies. Here, Dr. Carolyn is our certified physical therapist, and Glenda has the dog has a certificate too, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. I believe she's a facility dog. Our speech therapist and occupational therapist as well. I've got a little clip of occupational therapy in action.
There's a frog. One.
Did you catch all that? Dr. Edwards is working on motor planning, fine motor coordination and dexterity, and also fine motor strengthening exercise. This activity helps develop the skills students need for pre-writing. You could also see she's doing hand over hand. Some of our students require intensive hand over hand needs depending on their developmental age or their skills. We have an amazing range of kids, and they represent an amazing range of gifts and also challenges. Our district has students who are hearing impaired and deaf, and I wanted to show you a little bit of American Sign Language in a classroom setting.
For Piper with the little bird. Okay, the little bird, she was trying over and over again.
That's Miss Reese teaching her resource room, and her student sitting near her is able to participate in that instructional lesson solely through the benefit of having an American Sign Language interpreter with her throughout the school day. We have students in our schools who are deaf who benefit from receiving ASL services. This video is actually of a student outside of our school district, but is a Levine student, the gentleman in the blue shirt with his back to us.
All of these words? Do you know what this word means? State. Do you know what state means?
So there's a voiceover for those of us who don't know ASL, and for the benefit of us understanding. The student is participating in a social studies lesson at Phoenix Day School for the Deaf. He's a Levine student and a Levine resident, and his IEP program determined that that's his least restrictive placement. We also have students in our district and outside of our district who are blind.
Right, go.
Good.
Last one.
Last one.
Go.
And.
Four. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Good.
Go. Left.
Good. 100%.
Break time.
Break time. Yes.
Break time, I think we all like that one. Reading Braille. But we also have students who receive instruction in Braille writing. So while this looks like an old style typewriter, the kind that I learned to type on, this is actually a Braille writer, and this student at a very young age is getting exposure to using a Braille typewriter to do Braille writing. We also offer services called orientation and mobility. You might think of it as caning.
All right.
What did you find? Found the rug, so what are you gonna do? Yeah, she's gonna make it about face good work.
Again, these are brief snippets to give you a little illustration of the range of our amazing kids and the staff that support them and the things that we do day in and day out. That video clip starts to show a little bit about independence, and my next few slides are about independence with a focus on our life skills teachers at the Levine Elementary School. They work with students who are heavily impacted with multiple disabilities, including intellectual disabilities. And while we do teach academics on state standards, we also teach independent skills, like how to cook.
Grab a handful. Good. Take it over. Nice. Very good.
I like to highlight these little clips because this is actually a custom designed kitchenette, and I got the pleasure of working with Dr. Johnson on designing this so that we could start teaching our elementary age students independent skills and not wait until they're freshmen in high school to start thinking about their independence and the skills that they need to have. So we built this when we built the new Levine very intentionally and purposefully. And you know, you have to know how to cook, but after you cook, you have to know how to clean.
Nice. Gotta clean our dishes.
Tim, is it 25 seconds you have to wash your hands? How long? Those are some of the things that we think about when we think about independence, but there are other independent skills that our staff teach that maybe we take for granted, those of us in this room. And this is an example of a physical therapist using a assistive technology device called a walker to teaching a student how to walk.
Step forward. Do this one. Oh, there you go, Paloma. Nice job.
In addition to working with students, our staff are experts in their field and share their expertise with one another, whether it's inside the Student Services Department or with other staff around the district. Our registered nurses teach first aid classes and CPR to our staff, to our teachers, to our coaches. Our counselors teach classes for our behavior coaches, and our assistive technology team works with staff on high-tech and low-tech devices that can help students maximize their gains. We also work closely with a focus on collaboration. Collaboration with school staff and administration out at the schools, with the other departments around the district, and our community agency partners like Touchstone, Maricopa County Health, the Department of Child Safety, and our other school agencies out in the community. I mentioned that we have students who are in other schools. We have many students beyond our school borders. Students are in hospital care, residential treatment, and other specialized schools. This map illustrates a few of the places where Levine students are currently attending. Schools for behavioral health, schools for autism, the Phoenix Day School for the Deaf, the Foundation for Blind Children, and one darn cool school, which is the school located at Phoenix Children's Hospital where we have students right now. Beyond the city of Phoenix, we have students spread out who are in voucher programs, also known as residential treatment centers. Those are Levine students when they leave us. They remain Levine students, and we collaborate with their teachers at their school programs in Phoenix, in Queen Creek, and even as far away as Prescott Valley. I'm going to end with a couple of high notes, and that's that we have cool kids, and we have award-winning kids and award-winning staff. Our program is highly rated, and it has been recognized both within the district with Employees of the Month or Excellence in Education winners, but outside of the district with several staff winners and student winners. Again, we focus on our students being successful in the classroom or at the school, but we celebrate their successes outside of the district at the state level. I'm going to conclude my presentation with a 1-minute video that you may have seen before. It's about a student, one of 3 in the district, who won an award this past spring. I particularly appreciate her focus on her mother and her teacher as inspiration.
Hi, my name is Mia Carvajal. I'm in 7th grade, and I like to read.
Mia Carbajal is a 7th grade student at Levine Elementary School. Before Mia was 12 years old, she couldn't read or rarely sat still. She also moved to a new county and learned to speak a whole new language. Because of her struggle to read, she avoided books. Mia said that she didn't like reading, but knew and was determined that she could be able to read what she did.
When I read, it makes me feel like I'm in the story. I like to imagine how it is living in the story and being in the story. One of my teachers this year has motivated me a lot. Her name's Ms. Hart. And she gives very good energy, and she makes it so we don't feel uncomfortable in class. And I like that a lot about her, and that's what motivated me to start reading. And the first book that I really enjoyed was Other Personal, so that's why I like it so much.
It is with great pleasure to present the Council for Exceptional Children I Can Do It Award to Mia Carbajal. Congratulations, Mia.
I would like to thank my teacher, Ms. Hall. She's the one that nominated me, and because of her, I won. And it's very special to me because she didn't have to think about me. She could have nominated anybody else. So it's very special to me that she nominated me. I would like to thank my brothers because they motivate me too, and my mom because she's always helped me and pushed me to my limit.
Well, we have a student who's going to be recognized very soon, and he's going to learn about his award tomorrow, is my understanding. So I'll have more good news for you at our next board meeting. Pending any questions from you, this concludes my presentation on student services.
Any questions?
Great work.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
No, you're not. I have several comments, actually. So one, I just want to start with the fact that you've given me an incredible amount of perspective. In the school district where I work, the cabinet has decided to go out every other week to support school sites because we're short substitute teachers and paraprofessionals and all of that. I don't have a teaching certificate, so I cannot be a substitute teacher. So I do other things like crossing guard duty, librarian. I was a nurse's aide one day. One day I got to be in the classroom with students. I was in a preschool classroom, a special ed preschool classroom. until I watched that and then you provided me some context afterwards, I basically thought we just played all day. I'm not even kidding. Like, for real, that's what I truly believed. And then we were doing puzzles with the students. We were planning a schedule for the day with the students. We were doing snack time with the students. So now you provided me some context that I had no idea that those were the things that we were doing. So I very much appreciate that.
Thank you.
That was an extremely informative presentation. I work in a school district and I learned so much from that, even still working in a school district. Just want to share with everybody that's out there, and I think you guys probably know this, but special education is not fully funded in this state, not really fully funded in most states. The IDEA Act, which was called something previously, only funds about 15 to 25% of what our special education costs are, although federally it was supposed to at some point fund 40%, never even came close to that. And then you know how things are in our state. They are clearly not funding all of special education, and it leaves a deficit of somewhere between 15 to 25%, depending on the school district. And we have to fund those things anyway. So getting special education funding is important and something that I know that we work on in EFRG and will continue to work on. And then last, and I presume you know this, but when Dr. Sprout shared with me that you would be presenting this evening, he talked about how incredible it feels to have you here in this district, to be supporting this district. We really appreciate everything you do, and we can tell you care about the students, and that translates to everybody else who works with you in student services. So thank you.
Thank you for that. I share the honor with all the principals out there at the schools because it's all collaboration and it's all shared staff and shared kids. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, now you're done. Okay. Hold on, I have a scrolling issue here. Okay, we have our consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And I think Dr. Sprout, you want
Yes.
to say something?
Thank you, President Berrigan. The personnel report reflected 2 administrative changes. The promotion of Nikki Goodwin from assistant principal to principal of MC Cash, and the promotion of Levine Online Academy Dean of Students Melissa Garcia to assistant principal at MC Cash. I know the governing board and all of us joined together to express our highest level of support and appreciation to both of you as you lead Cash in the days, weeks, months, and years to come. Thanks to both of you. Congratulations.
Okay. The next item is the policy revisions. We can conduct the second read and adopt the proposed policies if I have a motion to do so.
Motion? Motion.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. And then we have the proposed district calendar for 22-23.
Motion?
Thank you.
Second?
Been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. And we have a revised stipend schedule for fiscal year 22. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have the revised classified salary schedule, I believe mostly as an effect of the change to minimum wage, changing again in January of 2022. Do I have a motion?
Second?
Motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And then we have a new counselor position for the school safety program to be funded out of ESSER. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Any final comments from the board tonight? Dr. Centers.
I think this is a picture of a beautiful district. Many tiers and with kids and special education. Yeah, it's a picture of something that's very healthy that probably many people in the state would be very envious of. So
Mhm.
just want to say have a happy, wonderful Thanksgiving. If you're going to run in the turkey trot, please wear my shirt because my name's going to be on the back.
I just am a little bit surprised how many of you guys were at Borman. I was there the first year that they had 7th and 8th grade go through, the first year it was built.
Wow.
So, and also for, as far as what we're doing for the kids with special needs, my brother has cerebral palsy, and when we were in school, his option was Gompers Rehabilitation Center, and that was it. And there was nothing wrong but his legs. And so to be pulled out. Anyhow, thank you so much. It is huge, and happy Thanksgiving.
Just thank you for all your hard work.
Nice and
Brief.
simple. I like it.
Nice and simple.
I do want to say congratulations to Ms. Goodwin and Ms. Garcia. I know that it's a tough time to be congratulated, but it is an important step. And my understanding, in particular for you, Nikki, is that Lisa knew you were ready. So take comfort in that. And I know for all of you, it's difficult to move on when something like this happens, but I appreciate you doing that for all of our students. So thank you. Our next board meeting is on December 9th at 5:30. I'll need a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.